There we go. Melanie Veness joins us from Pietermaritzburg, perhaps the epicenter of the rioting and looting. She is the chief executive of the Maritzburg Chamber of Commerce. So it's your members who are in the front line here, Mel.
Oh, Alec, it's been absolutely horrendous. I can't even begin to describe what we've gone through the last few days. Literally watching our businesses be looted with no help in sight, and then to watch our trucks be driven off to loot other places and our businesses being set alight. It's been horrific, absolutely horrific.
Are you any closer to understanding what's behind all of this?
No, I mean, a week ago we could never have imagined ourselves ever being in a situation like this, and yet today it's our reality. You have to keep pinching yourself and saying, how did this happen? It seems so well orchestrated. There's certainly, to my mind, some other force behind it. It's not just happened organically.
So it isn't just perhaps a spark, as some people are suggesting.
No, to me it appears far more organized than that. It seems to have things that are targeted. If you look at it every day, it starts off out, then it starts off being, then it's grocery stores, and then it's DCs, and then it's quite organized. It's not randomly perpetrated by people. I don't think so.
And how are your members, remembering that you are one of the strongest chambers of commerce in the country? We've had a long relationship. I see your events. There are hundreds and hundreds of people who come along to it. So it's a coordinated group. How are they reacting to this?
Well, I mean, it's been amazing. Obviously, initially, absolute devastation. You watch your life's work crumbling around you, and it's not only about you, it's about all your employees. How do you put it back together, and how do you support them? Some of them have stayed to try and protect premises, and then just been outnumbered and had to leave. So the community is pulled together in wonderful ways, and I think that's one of the things out of tragedies like this, is that you see people stepping up to help communities pulling together. So we have seen quite a lot of that, which has been very positive. It's a close business community, so we are close and we are supportive of each other, and that's a wonderful thing.
How? Give us some examples of how that's happened.
Well, one of the things that we've done, for instance, is when that have lost their premises and have lost their machinery and things, and still have to produce to stay alive, then we've called for support for generators from other people, and people have stepped up to offer a generator, for instance. Where we've had issues with attacks on particular premises, then security's been lent to try and help protect that. Communities have banded together to lock off areas to stop the attack on particular areas, like we have a few shopping centres and food stores that haven't been hit yet, so communities have banded together to protect those from further attack, because people understand that we're now starting to face food shortages because our supermarkets have all been closed, and we can't get any stock through because the highway's closed. We're fast running out of petrol, so the realities on the ground are tough for everyone. And if we don't find ways to pull together and to protect the last remaining shops that we have, then all of us are going to have no food. So it's necessity.
We've seen the pictures of the burning McCormick shopping centre, I think it is. Just give us a horrible, but of the commercial operations in Pietermaritzburg, what's gone and what's left?
Well, we lost Brookside Mall, we lost Edendale Mall, Polly Shorts Mall. We've lost, there were a number of different liquor storage units that were feeded into the adjoining factories. So we've lost several factories. There've been also the garage storage units in some areas have been looted and then set on fire. Macro was absolutely decimated, and it was the most shocking thing to see, because those factories on fire, they were buckies stolen from them. We tracked them with the tracker, and they were parked in the Macro parking lot. And people were looting macro with trolleys, taking it to their cars. It was like they were shopping. I mean, it's absolutely astounding. The center of town, just about every store in the center of town's been decimated. Butcheries, game stores. I mean, we saw people, they just took their number plates off in front of the SAPs and in front of the army. They loaded up the stuff, and some of them couldn't fit it into the boots of their car, so they rearranged their looted stuff in front of everybody. I mean, it's mind-blowing, honestly. Absolutely mind-blowing.
But this doesn't sound like people who are suffering from poverty. If you're driving a car to macro
No, not at
and
all.
then looting it.
Well, there've been people in Mercedes Benzes and things putting up. No, it's certainly not. It's absolutely not just poverty driving this at all. It is just looting, and it's criminal. Honestly, it's criminal.
And you say the police were watching on?
Absolutely, on numerous occasions. In some instances, one might say it's because there were so many people that the police were overwhelmed, but there wasn't an effort to utilize even things like tear gas or those sorts of things. That they literally watched. I mean, I saw on TV the other day somebody being interviewed in the center of town in his full security guard uniform, and another one in his SAPS uniform. So it's so heartbreaking. It really has been. To sit there completely astounded.
Where do you go from here? Where does the community, the Chamber of Commerce, what role can you play in rebuilding, if that's possible?
Well, I think the most important thing for us to do now is to stand together and to call for a state of emergency. We have to do it because we need to be able to ensure both that we can start operating businesses again in relative safety, that we can start opening up our highway to start getting food in, that we can restock and reopen our supermarkets, and that we can go back to functioning. And there's no ways that with our current resources we'll be able to do that. The army deployment here, there's been just woefully too few people on the ground that it's made absolutely no significant difference. There's been people saying, is the army so well camouflaged here that we can't see them? But literally to deploy 2,500 people to the hotspots in South Africa to try and quell this is just ludicrous. So we need a show of force on the ground that is going to ensure that we can get our economy back on track. And the first thing is to ensure safety and security. So we need that show of force. And so what we've done is we've done quite a lot of advocacy to ask for that to be put in place. And we're hoping that somebody will hear our pleas, because I think, there's a lot of comment about it not being necessary at this point in time. But to me, that shows a complete lack of comprehension of what's happening on the ground here. I mean, we've never seen the likes of anything like this.
What does the state of emergency entail? How would it change the lives of business in Pietermaritzburg?
Well, at the moment, the security SAPs and the army, first of all, are outnumbered. So we will ensure that we have lots more people on the ground, some boots on the ground, to be able to take control of the situation. And it does have a curbing of the movement of people, so that people cannot create the kind of gatherings and groundswells and attack areas like they are attacking them now. There are curfews in place that have got to be respected. I mean, here I'm fielding calls until 11:30 at night about looting at night and burning of sites. And we're in the middle of lockdown. We have a 9 o'clock curfew, but there's no action taken against people for being out of that space. So there needs to be a strict control, and there needs to be a show of force. And I think that's what's not being applied at the moment. And it's very unfair to law-abiding citizens that are really just bearing the brunt of it. We don't want people we don't want any more loss of life or anything to happen like that. What we need is a show of force that discourages that, and arrest and detaining people that are behaving inappropriately for our society, so that people are discouraged from continuing to do this. Because if we allow people to continue to act with impunity, they will continue to do that. There's very little left, and we need to save what is left.
So it's continuing. The looting is not over yet in the city.
Oh, not at all. No, 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 no. I mean, till late last night, additional sites were being targeted. And I must say that since yesterday afternoon, I've been working quite closely with our municipal security division, and they've been liaising with the army and SAPS, and they have responded to our request for assistance at a number of sites. But it also gets dangerous. You know, we have refineries that get targeted, and they're full of diesel, and they get targeted for the diesel. But if those get set alight, then the potential loss of life to people that live in that community is massive. So they're huge, huge risks. So you know, it's important for everybody's safety that we get on top of this thing. We're also, you know, what do we do when we run out of food? You know, what is that going to mean for communities? What is it going to mean in terms of jobs? You know, a lot of these places that have been burnt down, if people get paid out by the insurance company, are they going to reinvest it here? You know, those are the real concerns for us. Well, they're going to say we're not starting again, and what happens to all the people that were employed in those businesses? You know, it's terrifying.
Are they going to be paid out by insurance? Is there sufficient are enough of the businesses actually insured so that they can recoup this?
Well, I mean, there are some, but small businesses are the ones that are really going to suffer. You know, I just look at some of the chaps that have gone about just really working hard to establish a place. I think of a chap that owns a business called Mfan Steel, Linda Kutle. I mean, Linda, he's put everything into his business. I don't think he's got insurance, and his equipment is absolutely and utterly destroyed. He literally has to start again. He just bought a whole lot of steel to go into production for something. He's going to lose those orders. He doesn't have the resources to replace the steel, and his machinery is destroyed. So, you know, how does he start again and support his family? It's just indiscriminate destruction of things that decent people have built. You know, it's not acceptable.
Machinery destroyed for what purpose? Is it impossible for them to take it away and use, so rather just break it so someone else can't? Is that kind of the philosophy?
And destruction. I mean, you just can't believe that people will go into a space. There's absolutely no necessity if you're looting a place to destroy everything else in your path. This isn't, and yet people have done that. You know, they have smashed up the machines. They have set stuff on fire. Why would you set big warehouses on fire? It's nonsensical.
So where to from here? Yeah. What happens
I
next?
think that we've got to get this state of emergency declared so that we can get the proper troops on the ground, that we can get control again. I think that's the important thing for us right now, so that we can ensure the continuance of those businesses that are able to continue. One must also remember that there are a lot of businesses that have simply closed down for this period, and that's not sustainable into the future. We've got companies that are owned by, you know, they're foreign-owned entities trying to explain to your head office in America what's happening in South Africa, or to head office in Japan or Germany. That's also, you know, how do you even explain what's happening here? A number of companies that have said, look, you know, South Africa is going to be this unstable, then maybe we should be looking to other areas in Africa to be able to distribute from. There are companies that are saying the north of Africa, maybe it's safer, or places like Rwanda. You know, isn't it safer for us to set up in those sorts of areas? So those are real discussions taking place right now, and we're shooting ourselves in the foot. So we need to get on top of the situation so that we can create some sort of stability for the people that are here, but also for the people that have invested in South Africa, so that they can continue to have faith in us as a country. This could result in disinvestment, which we'll never get back again, and it is also a deterrent to investment. You've got to be seen to react and to respond to threats in the environment of this magnitude.
Apart from being the CEO of the Chamber of Commerce in Pietermaritzburg, you also live in the city. How are residents, communities, how are they reacting to this?
I think they're terrified. communities are setting up barriers to residential areas to prevent any looting of houses and things, which for me is more than a little disturbing. It takes you to places you don't really want to go psychologically. We enjoyed so many freedoms in South Africa, and it feels like all of those freedoms have now been taken away. That people's constitutional rights to safety and security and just peaceful living have been removed. And what you don't want to do is land up with some of the stuff is stoking racial tension, which you don't want to see in South Africa. While situations like this can bring out really great things in fellow South Africans, it can also bring out some pretty awful stuff. So, the sooner we get control of this and the sooner that we find ways to work together to get on top of this issue, the better it will be for everybody. It's tough.
You've always been an optimist for as long as I've known you, which is a long time. Can you see any upside in all of this?
Look, I think that we'll certainly learn a lot of lessons out of what has happened here, and maybe we'll have some hard conversations that we probably needed to have prior to this having happened. Conversations that are very necessary. Maybe we'll find new ways to work together. But I do think that there are a lot of underlying issues that we've glossed over in the past that will be ventilated through this process, and that we're going to have to work together to find solutions to. So I found it probably the hardest I've ever found in the last couple of days to remain an optimist. I think my heart of hearts I always will be. I have immense love for this country, immense love for my city. And I think that if we all stand together, perhaps we come out better at the end of this. We're hoping so. Well, that's what I'm hoping for anyway.